I'm Sarah, a tutor at Accountancy Learning, and in this video I'll take you through the Business Awareness AAT Sample Paper 1 Task 6. So Task 6 is about communication and visualisation. In this task we are given a lot of information about a business, and we also have some sales data as well given to us in the form of charts. So let's read through what we are given, and as we go through I'm going to start highlighting some information that may be useful to us as we start to answer the questions. So today's date is 8th of January 20x8. You work for BUAW, a business selling lawn mowers and garden equipment. BUAW is a sole trader business owned by Amber Brooks. The client base is expanding as their lawn mowers and equipment are high quality and are purchased at high prices by large building contractors and landscape gardeners. BUAW employs 8 sales staff, including 1 sales manager and 7 sales representatives, who are each responsible for a number of customer accounts. BUAW's customers regularly make purchases. Standard 30-day payment term is given to all customers following credit checks. The sales representatives have responsibility for negotiating discounts, for upselling additional or more expensive products, and will recommend credit limits and payment terms for their customers. BUAW's suppliers allow them a 60-day payment term. Then given various charts that we need to look at. So we are given the monthly sales in units, we're given sales revenue over different months, we've got monthly sales values by sales representatives, and then we've got the unit sales per product by month as well. The finance manager is responsible for analysing results for use by Amber and other managers in the business. Unfortunately, the finance manager has been called away urgently and is not expected to return for a few weeks. Amber has asked you to help with this analysis in the absence of the finance manager. Amber would like to know about the performance of the business over the 6 months to the 31st of December 20x7, the expected performance of the business for the 3 months to 31st of March 20x8, and the information which should be communicated to the sales manager to appraise performance of the sales representatives. In the exam, you'll also be able to see all of this information in the references section to the right-hand side of your exam screen. So that prevents you from scrolling up and down. Then the question then is to discuss the performance of the business over the 6 months to the 31st of December 20x7 and the expected performance of the business for the 3 months to the 31st of March 20x8. So it's just important here to recognise that this is the historical data and this is what's expected to happen in the future. We're also told that we need to give some information on the employees' performance, particularly those of the sales representatives. So let's have a look at the information then, and what kind of conclusions can we draw from this. Looking at our sales revenue, we can see that there's generally the increase in sales over the months. So we can state that our sales revenue has been increasing. We can also say that the number of units here that's also increasing. We can then have a look at what's happening from our sales representative point of view. So on this chart here, we've got the different lines. So we can see that Ravi here is consistently increasing, and so too is Vanessa. And Ravi is also the highest performer in terms of revenue. But we also then need to have a look at the fact that Shannon's performance, which is this blue line here, that's actually decreasing per month. And then Michael and Satpal has actually remained fairly consistent over the last 6 months as well. Have a look at how can we be explaining some of these things. So we can see here that the basic mower is decreasing over the month. So because this basic mower is going down, less of the lower priced products are being sold. And then we can see here for the superior mower, that's actually gone up. So this superior mower can explain the increase in revenue, because it could be more superior mowers are being sold. And it could also mean that it does explain, potentially explain, what's going on for Shannon as well, because it may be that she's only selling the basic mowers over the 6 months rather than upselling to her customers. With both the standard and the superior mowers increasing, it means these higher volumes of the expensive products are likely being sold, and in which case we could potentially see a continuing pattern of the sales revenue continuing to increase, provided it's mainly these products here that are being sold, with maybe even discontinuation of the basic mower. Another pattern that could continue is, given that Ravi and Venetia have got a good pattern with their sales, and again that could be because they're selling more of the higher priced products, that it could be expected that they will continue their upward trend in sales and therefore would stay as the highest performing salespeople as well. So when you're answering this question, you need to make sure that you are to some degree stating the obvious. So make sure you are saying things like, the revenue is increasing month on month. You need to state things about the sales representative. We need to state the obvious to pick up some of the marks. But then you need to start making links. So to pick up the top marks for this is to make sure that you're showing that you have an understanding of the patterns within the data that you've got, making conclusions from that, and making links between the different data that you've got. So by talking about the revenue increase, you can talk about the more superior models being sold, at higher prices. You can then also link Shannon's falling sales to perhaps selling basic only. And because these have falling sales, that would account for Shannon's falling revenue. So overall, the basics are going down, and therefore Shannon's sales are going down as well. And you can then talk about Ravi and Venetia. They are likely to be selling the better products, which means their value of their sales is higher. Nothing to suggest that that would change, because the pattern would suggest that in the next 3 months to the 31st of March that the revenue would continue to increase. So it's really important in this answer that you do make those links between the information. So start by thinking about so you can sort of state the obvious. Then explain part of it. So what is causing it? What might have caused it? What does the information tell us about the trends and the patterns? So you need to be explaining the patterns. And trends. And then link the data together, which then brings the bigger picture, and you can pick up the highest marks. So this is a 10-mark question. So without doing the links, you are only likely to get a maximum of 7 marks. Without explaining things, you are only likely to get a maximum of 3 marks. On to the final parts of this task then. Identify which 2 of the following statements are correct. We've got the sales manager could use information about customer discounts to appraise the sales representatives. So this is true. So this is one of them. Because the sales manager can have a look at customer discounts to look at how well the sales representatives are performing. The sales manager would not benefit from detailed information about the product sales for each representative. Well, that's not one of our answers, because the detail that the sales manager gets means he would be able to assess how well each representative is doing, so he does need that detailed information. The sales representatives have no influence over what customers buy and should not be appraised on their sales across the product range. So they do have some influence on what customers might buy. So they can upsell, cross-sell, so they should be appraised on what their sales are across the product range. So are they meeting all of their customer requirements? And then finally, the sales representative should be appraised based on the prices negotiated with their customers. So yeah, so this should be reviewed. You know, are they giving good prices to their customers? Are they giving them too many discounts? Are they keeping prices too high and therefore customer orders are low? So the sales representative should be appraised based on prices negotiated with their customers. Then the final part of this task is complete the following statement about professional communication. When preparing information for the sales manager about the sales representative's performance, it must be, and we've got to choose from, in a shared location to enable easy access by all team members, clearly presented and accurate, in a spreadsheet format and emailed to the sales manager. So you could potentially argue for the majority of these. However, the first one shouldn't be accessed by all team members. So if this is about performance, then only those who are authorised should be able to access it. So the sales representative shouldn't necessarily be able to see the performance of their colleagues. So we wouldn't be putting it into a shared location. In terms of the format, it may well be presented in a spreadsheet format and emailed to the sales manager, but that isn't necessarily the way that it has to be done. And it may not be emailed, it may be a printed format, so that isn't the way that we must do these things. However, when we are preparing the information, we must make sure that it is clearly presented and it is accurate. So the information that the sales manager has about the sales representatives is easy to read and it is accurate and as up to date as it can be. That would now bring us to the end of task 6.